What happened?
Nothing.
Oh, tell me, honey, what happened?
Nothing happened. We went into this drive-in movie, and then we went to this drive-in hamburger place, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to say, and we just sat there. Oh, I don't even want to talk about it.
Oh, darling.
I'm never going out with anybody again, ever.
Oh, honey, it happens that way sometimes. I remember so well. Did I ever tell you about the first time I went out with your daddy?
No.
Well, it was while he was still an intern. I barely knew him. I'd only met him once, and, well, he was older and so much more sophisticated. I was scared to death. I wanted so to make a good impression, and, well, everything went wrong. Just everything.
Welcome to Gimmicks, a podcast about the high-concept, experimental, structure-breaking gimmick episodes of TV, from musicals to bottle episodes to television's first-ever Rashomon-style episode. I'm one of your hosts, David Arnold.
And I'm Derek B. Gale, and I'm something of a scientist myself.
Stop. I had to text Derek when this came up because it was so funny that I was like, oh my gosh, are we doing Spider-Man here? 40 years in advance. I loved it.
Incredible.
Wow, this time we are going way back to the earliest episode of television that this podcast has covered to date, and we're talking about The Donna Reed Show, Season 1, Episode 20, Have Fun.
Oh, and it is going to be fun, for sure.
It is going to be fun.
Yeah, so if you're unfamiliar with The Donna Reed Show, I wouldn't be surprised, because it's the oldest sitcom that we've done, and it's not... It is a well-known one in the scope of television in terms of how much exists. Like, more people remember the Donna Reed Show than remember some other things that have come out, but it's also, I think, never been in the, I don't know. It's not like on those, like, that top tier spectrum of like I Love Lucy and
or
even
Bewitched
like
or anything like that.
Or Bewitched, or even like Leave It to Beaver or Andy Griffith or something. The stuff that like everyone knows, I feel like it's like a tier below that, where it's like you kind of do have to know about TV to really know what the show was, or have like a grandparent who watched it or something like that, you know? So it is an American sitcom, originally aired on ABC from 1958 to 1966 with 275 episodes across 8 seasons.
Holy shit. 275 episodes over 8 years that's breakneck.
I mean, that's how TV was back in the time. It was like the 22 episode season thing is like a pretty modern invention. You'd look at old sitcoms and even stuff like Lost in Space, like, you know, hour-long sci-fi shows or whatever. It would be like at minimum like 30 episodes a season. With Donna Reed, I think it's like every season is like 37 or 38 episodes.
Yeah,
they just didn't take as many breaks, you know.
The list on Tubi was intense to see all the things that I could watch.
And it's not even they don't even have every episode on Tubi. I think it's only like 5 seasons of it, I think, or on Tubi right now. I don't think it's the whole show.
I only did a little homework. I didn't dive into the entire thing, but after watching this one, I was a little hooked. Like, this was a good episode of TV.
Yeah. So the show was originally created by William Roberts, who has quite the pedigree. He was the screenwriter of the original Magnificent Seven film. He wrote the Jeff Bridges sports movie, The Last American Hero, and he even wrote a draft of the Damon Wayans movie Major Payne from the 90s. So he does have a little bit of a comedy background in addition to this show.
That's great. I love
quite different.
I love that, but I hope by the 90s he was eyeing retirement. That's the only thing that I thought about when I saw that note. I was like, wow, this is a late in life thing.
And I think like the important note is a draft of it. I can't imagine how much of the final film is like this guy in it, you know? So I don't know. But yeah, an interesting career. He's not really involved that much in this episode, but yeah, he was the original creator of it. But I think more importantly, probably for our conversation, the show is a vehicle for Donna Reed, who, if you don't know, she had already by the point of this show had achieved fame. You would know her as Mary Bailey in It's a Wonderful Life. She also won an Academy Award for the war drama From Here to Eternity, I think was her big, hugest role at this point. And honestly, kind of interesting that she was doing TV after that, because it was kind of a rarity at the time, honestly, up until very recently, to be an Academy Award winner, like doing television and not being like looked down upon as an actor for doing it, you know?
Yeah. And now Meryl Streep swings on to like 3 episodes of Only Murders in the Building. Like, it's no big deal.
Yeah. Yeah. And the show was it was able to happen for 2 reasons. I think a main reason why you could have like just a serious actor going to like choosing to do a sitcom and then being able to do a female-led sitcom during an era when that was extremely rare. I think it helped that her then husband, Tony Owen, was a producer. So I think he was able to help get the show off the ground. But then also like Reed herself was sort of like, I've done all these dramatic roles. I've been all these love interests in all these movies. I would love to just do a comedy. Like, it just seems like it would be fun to just do a comedy, and she did it for 8 years. So
yeah. Did you have familiarity with Reed before this? Because I got to be honest, this was I've seen obviously It's a Wonderful Life, but didn't really clock that it was Donna Reed. This was really my first sort of experience with her.
This is my first time that I paid attention to her, I think, because I've definitely seen stuff with her in it, but it's never been like, I've never been like Donna Reed as an actor in the same way that you think of like Cary Grant as an actor or something like that, you know? So this is the first time I've actually like paid attention to who she was and, you know, and read up on her and everything like that. So, I mean, yeah, I guess the real answer is like, yeah, this is really the first real experience with Donna Reed where I'm actually like making it a point to notice what she's doing, you know? Yeah.
I don't even think I could have picked her out of a lineup. I really know the name from Grease and Little Shop of Horrors. That's when I think of people referencing Donna Reed, it's more about an image of what she is than actually seeing her.
I know there's a Gilmore Girls episode where like the whole subplot is about like referencing Donna Reed, right? And like arguing like whether she was like bad for feminism or whatever, you know?
Yeah. I think that's where Rory's trying to make a point to Dean, and Rory, have better taste in men is all I have to say about that. Derek, Donna Reed is a smoke show. This is gorgeous woman.
She's so hot. I mean, they got an equally hot husband for her in this show.
Oh my God.
But like,
yes.
It's unreal. Yeah. But yes, she is so beautiful and so gorgeous. And I think it's interesting. Well, you can talk about it a little bit, but like a lot of the things she seemed to talk about in interviews and stuff, I think feels kind of wrapped up in her identity of being a gorgeous woman that didn't want to just be like a hot lady in movies, you know?
Right. Right.
Not to just be like, oh, that terrible millstone around your neck and just being too hot, but like,
damn, I'm just too hot.
But like in Hollywood, you know, it makes sense that's an issue, especially during this time period where it's already an uphill battle for women to be able to be taken seriously doing anything. To just be like, well, you're there because you're hot. Like, you know, I understand why that would be a thing to deal with for her.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, her acting chops are fantastic in this episode, and I know we're going to talk about it as we go beat by beat, but she's a great comedic actor. She's got a lot of good presence on the screen, but I was just surprised. I guess I thought I was going to be watching like sort of the progenesis of the trad wife, and instead I get this like really, really, really hot mom who just happens to have a show set in the 50s.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, right. I think that was so interesting. Like, the whole premise of this show, it is nothing special really on the surface. Reed is an upper middle class housewife named Donna Stone in this case. She's married to a pediatrician named Alex, who's like the hottest pediatrician imaginable. And they have two children, an elder daughter named Mary, a younger son named Jeff. It is like the most typical nuclear family ever. Like nothing groundbreaking there. The show was not trying to be edgy. Really the main thing that really set it apart, and I think to this day still sets it apart, is that it was a family sitcom, but was the first family sitcom to feature the mother as a central character and lead character of the show, the one really driving the storylines. Obviously stuff like I Love Lucy had already happened, right, where women could be at the center of the show, and this show is definitely like not trying to be as like edgy and innovative as I Love Lucy was, but I do think that there is something really innovative and important about being like, you can do the typical nuclear family sitcom that you are familiar with. You have seen this a million times, but hey, what if the mom was at the center of it? Like that is, I think, a really important kind of groundbreaking thing the show is doing, and really does move the needle in a lot of ways, you know?
Because Lucy did they have kids?
They did.
Or we never saw them.
She got pregnant eventually. She was expecting eventually. But like the premise of the show wasn't about her being a mother, right?
No.
Like that was not in the cards. That only happened because she got pregnant in real life. So
Gotcha.
It is different for the inception of a show being like, it is a mom, but the mom isn't a secondary character. Like
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, you know, so I do think that the narrative of the show is so interesting because it's like this weird middle ground where like, because it isn't trying to be particularly edgy, I think it is intentionally trying to be a standard family sitcom that just happens to have the mom at the center. It's like, I think the conversations around it are really fascinating because like, I don't know, people really know where to land on it because like it did get a lot of criticism from feminists throughout the years. And especially
probably earned.
Yeah. I think it's fair, right? Because like because I think, you know, we've seen like 0.0001% of the show. I'm sure there are plenty of points in the show that do not hold up as well as this particular episode does. So a lot of the criticisms from feminists and like the Gilmore Girls episode is that it's like Donna Reed was just being a submissive housewife. Like, yeah, so what if she was like the lead character in the show, but she's still just like a housewife doing housewifely things as her family goes off and does their own stuff and her husband is still the breadwinner and everything, right? Donna Reed herself would very frequently push back on that, like up through the end of her life, that it's sort of like, yeah, it was, I think maybe you're being reductive. She was still a strong woman. Just because she was a mother, she wasn't stupid. She maybe wasn't like a domineering in the way that you would maybe like want a strong female character to be, but she was still like bright. And, Donna Reed thought that she was pretty forward thinking and like was also like, and she's happily married. She's not like, she's not like miserable in her relationship with her husband. Like they actually kind of play off of each other very well.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of respect between the relationship, and that's what's interesting because I think that gets read as submissive.
Yeah,
but in the episodes that I watched, it doesn't play that way. It only plays that way when I think about Reed or her character Donna Stone in the concept of other characters like Lucy, or even like Mary Tyler Muller's role on Dick Van Dyke. That show called Dick Van Dyke. Yeah. Sorry, it was a brain fart. That's very, very different when you're sort of comparing against what else is in the field. And then what's to come, we get some zanier things all the way up until we're in the 80s and 90s and things are getting really realistic based on the family again. And then when you're talking about female-centered roles, we're into like Roseanne territory.
Right. I think it's similar to a lot of conversations I know about like queer representation that have been had where it's like there's this like wide spectrum, right? Where it's like on one end of the spectrum, there's, historically been tons of queer stories where they're just fucking sex pests and stuff. And just, and then there's on the other side of the spectrum where it's just like beautiful, bright beacons of light that can do no wrong. And the one in the reality is like more representation that would make sense is like a regular person that is just flawed. And I feel like Donna Reed seemed to be sort of trying to approach that middle ground with her stuff where it's like, your typical suburban white housewife is still probably going to be kind of like what this is, but there is something to like not being fully submissive, still like having agency and like driving, the stories of your own life. I know a lot of the subplots in this show, like is balancing her family with like helping her community. And, so even though she wasn't a career woman, she was still had her own life and was still kind of doing her own thing and her own hobbies and her own interests, And it's like, it sounds like the bare minimum talking in 2023, but I do think that was important representation to find in television at the time.
Yeah. I think the only other place that I can draw a similar character from this era of television, it's even a little bit later than the Donna Reed show, would be Morticia Addams from the Addams Family.
Sure.
Or even maybe Lily Munster, because those are, when I think about women who were sort of in this same role, it's those characters who got to do that. And the only reason they were allowed to do that is that everything else was weird.
Right. Yeah. And I also think I think it helps getting a lot of Donna Reed's perspectives on this stuff. Like I found it really fascinating reading some of her quotes and some things about her. I think that she's a really interesting person, like somebody that I don't always agree with 100%, but like
sure.
I respect a lot because I do think that like she had a very particular way of thinking and a very particular perspective on things and I think was intentionally trying to, I think like she did genuinely have an agenda for what she was trying to do and like change things for actresses in Hollywood, you know, and for herself, right? Like there is this 1964 interview from the Saturday Evening Post, and like as chill as Donna Reed seems and like meek as she maybe seems in a lot of her roles and stuff, she's a fucking firecracker. It is so fun, the types of stuff that she would say. Like that she has said like that the network, of course, had asked her to change the format of the show because they didn't want her to be the positioned as the lead. And she just said, we're not going to change our format. Maybe you'd better change your network. Like, damn, girl.
Wow. You can fuck right off is what she said.
Yeah.
You can fuck right off.
Yeah. I also love this quote. She says, most movie directors are a bunch of hackneyed craftsmen. They're scared to death of actors and even more scared of actresses. And they hate women, which is why they make the female characters in their pictures as unpleasant as possible.
This is great. Donna Reed alive today would be on the front line of the SAG-AFTRA strike reading this exact fucking quote.
Yeah. And like the thing is like some the stuff that I don't agree with that she says is a lot. She does have a kind of like a slut shamey kind of angle to her, which I do think fits the time period, right? It is a lot of just sort of like, oh, these women with their big boobs, like women should be more than that. And it's like, I think that the approach is more like the way that they're portrayed in Hollywood rather than the women themselves. But you know, it doesn't, when you're reading it in modern days, it like comes across as sort of like, okay, calm down. Women could be hot too. Like that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like one of the other quotes she has was like from that interview was like, it's a lousy profession for a woman. Being an actress turns you into a looking glass girl, always absorbed in how you look, always self. Too many actresses have loused up their lives because all they were capable of was taking. And it's like, I don't love a lot of what she's saying, but I also understand where it's coming from. And I think it more speaks to, like, I think she felt like Hollywood was a really fucking seedy place that ruined people and turned you, it like made you vain and turned you into a horrible person. And I think it's like, so it's, I don't love the way that she is stating all of those things, but I do think her point, the fine point that she's making, I do agree with that. Like Hollywood is just a fucking cesspit that ruins people and especially ruins women. Right. And that's the kind of stuff that she was speaking up about and that I appreciate a lot. And I think was important to be stated at the time, you know?
Well, and I wonder if a person with feelings like this, obviously she's living through the sexual revolution in this country.
Right.
And I wonder if Donna Reed, alive today, which she's not, would have also called out some of the actions and behaviors of producers and men in power who were the ones who created and cultivated those environments that are exactly what she's talking about.
I feel, because a lot of what she talks about is like the filmmakers themselves, that the people that are in charge of the things in the network. So like, you know, I think that her beef was more with the people in charge than other women. You know, I ultimately, I'm sure that she probably turned her nose up at certain women and stuff. It sounds like based on the way she talks about it, but I do think that like the grander agenda was more like the system fucking sucks and I don't like it. Like, and I fully co-sign that aspect of it. You know?
Yeah. That's cool. I know that she like voted to like lower taxes and stuff too, which we're very against, but I don't know. It's nice to think that there was somebody who is at least looking at it with that sort of lens, looking at it with a female empowerment lens, and just living through a time in which sexual revolution meant a lot of equal rights that were ended up delivered, which was also cool.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think, you know, and this is a little bit outside the scope of the show in particular, but like the Donna Reed rabbit hole I fell into that I think find so fascinating about her is like the idea of like, politically, she was registered a Republican and like I think was remained a supporter of the Republican Party to the end of her life. But I do think it kind of speaks to how different politics was at the time versus now, because you could be a Republican at the time, but then still like nowadays it is very much sort of like you have to just choose a side and your party is the team you're supporting. And also like the choices are either like the party that like wants you to have rights and wants people to live versus the people that don't want you to have rights and want people to die. And it's like, well, the choice is pretty easy and it wasn't necessarily the same back in the day. And I think that she was Republican, but had a lot of progressive views that she shared with the Democratic Party, and like would sometimes vote for Democratic candidates when she felt like their views aligned with hers. Like, for example, like this was a time during Vietnam, which is a very hot topic, especially if you're a Republican, you should have been in support of the Vietnam War. But as a Republican, she was like very staunchly anti-war. She was very opposed to that war in particular. She like became a very outspoken peace activist. She was against like nuclear power plants too, which is also not a Republican stance at the time. And like she credits a lot of the stuff just to being like, I talked to my son about it, and like he was telling me about how I didn't want him to be drafted and thought that maybe he could like, you know, maybe be a non-combatant. And he was the one telling me like, no, Mom, this shit is like fucking immoral. Like the entire premise of this war is awful. And she's like, I learned a lot from him and I agree with him. And it made me feel, I have a lot of respect for that. And because I do think that like one of the things that is such a problem in culture now, especially, is that it's sort of like people just fucking stick to their goddamn guns. And it's just like, this is what I believe and it will never change. And it reminds me of like my parents, where it's like, I don't necessarily agree with all of their views, but I do know that their love for me as their son outweighs what they might view, you know, politically or socially or whatever. Yeah. And they are willing to listen and maybe even just a little bit kind of change or compromise what they think or say based on that. And, you know, and it's like, it's not perfect. I wish that we could all think the same thing, but I have so much respect for someone who is like, yeah, I'm a Republican, but some of the shit the Republican Party doesn't fucking work. Sucks. Yeah. And, you know, and like a lot of the quotes that she has about this show and making it are sort of like, I believe in like, in the importance of family and family sticking together. And I think that like the way she lived her life really speaks to that, honestly, where it's just like I love my son and he said these things to me and I learned from him and now I agree with him, even though that's kind of goes against the political views I've had for most of my life. Like I love that shit. I think that's actually like really important. I have so much respect for that.
Yeah, I mean, to be loved is to be changed, but also to be changed as a way that we express love. And that's, there's a beauty there. And I really like that.
Yeah, it changed my perspective because when a lot of the comments that I read about the cast members on the show were very much like, the family is so important, and that just throws up so many red flags for me. And I'm like, whoa.
Because you and I were raised in the 80s and 90s, and that is a dog whistle of some racist bullshit. Right. But if we're back in the 60s, like the family being important is like a legitimate concern for how things are made or who's getting drafted or what we're making investments in our community.
Exactly. And I think it's coming from that perspective more than anything. And I do think that, again, I think it's reflected in the show because it's like, it is a family show, but Donna also seems to be like a very community minded person. And it's less like defending her family from evil and more like I'm trying to do what's best for my family and keeping them supported.
Yeah.
The Donna Reed Show is brought to you by new Miracle Mist Lilt, the home permanent that gives your hair inner moisture for hair with a perfect memory.
And now a word from our co-sponsor, Campbell's Soup Company.
And now for that news about Campbell's special offer. You can get 4 beautiful bone white soup mugs or soup bowls just like these. They're both of classic design. They're so elegant, they'll go with your finest china. And they're perfect for serving your favorite Campbell's soup. Both mugs and bowls are ideal for many other uses. You know, they're made of unbreakable material called Implex. In fact, they're so sturdy, they'll bounce. So, send for your 4 mugs or bowls today. Take 10 labels from any 10 different kinds of Campbell's soup, plus 50 cents, and send to me at this address, Donna Reed, Mount Vernon 10, New York. Now, be sure to tell us whether you want mugs or bowls.
Nick at Night wants to discuss the spread of Donna Reedaholism, the compulsive need to watch the Donna Reed Show.
My family can't understand. She's so clean.
She's prettier than my own mom.
I tried not to watch. I kept hearing her voice. Dinner in 5 minutes.
Oh, I'm not hooked. I can turn the channel anytime. Jeff, Mary, clean your rooms.
Donna Reedaholism. Until there's a cure, there's the Donna Reed Show. Watch it with someone who understands on Nick at Night. Tonight on Nick at Night, it's Make Room for Daddy, followed by My 3 Sons, then Donna Reed.
The Donna Reed Show is also sponsored by Crest, The fluoride toothpaste that can cut your family's cavity rate almost in half.
Look, Mom, no cavities.
So, Derek, before we jump into this episode of the show, had you ever watched Donna Reed before coming into it for this podcast?
No, I had never even heard of the show. I knew Donna Reed, but I'd never heard of the Donna Reed show as a sitcom.
Yeah.
Until doing research for the X-Files episode last year.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I think that I would have said the exact same thing, except I texted my cousins and said, we watched a lot of old TV. Did we ever fuck with the Donna Reed show? And to my surprise, my cousin let me know that we watched this constantly one summer because it just happened to be on after our chores were done. And so even though I didn't recognize anything that was going on, she assured me that we had seen this and that we would sing along with, not sing along because there's no words, but hum along with the theme song when it came on, and that she thought it was pretty formative for her life. She's 3 years older than me.
Yeah, that's so funny. Wow. Yeah. Well, that's cool.
Yeah. Thank you, WGN, for probably not paying anything to air this on Chicago television.
Incredible. Oh, that's so fun.
Well, the episode we are talking about today is the episode Have Fun. The original air date was February 4th, 1959, and the synopsis per IMDb: Mary thinks her first date with Herbie was a disaster until she hears how her parents' first date went. It was written by John Whedon, and I wrote John Whedon down, and then Derek filled in the rest of the notes, and my jaw dropped when I got to this. John Whedon is predominantly known for two things: writing the show and being the grandfather of Joss Whedon. We have a reverse Nepo baby situation.
Speaking of women being horribly treated in Hollywood, like, no better example. Well, not no better example.
Yeah,
a example.
okay. I think there might be some worse examples we could think.
Yeah, there are actually much worse examples, but a example.
Oh my gosh, John Whedon also wrote for a handful of other popular sitcoms, including Andy Griffith, The Dick Van Dyke Show, whose name I couldn't remember earlier, and Leave It to Beaver.
Yeah.
The episode was directed by Oscar Rudolph. He directed 50 episodes of the show, which feels like a ton until you remember that there were 275.
Yeah.
He was an actor in the 20s and 40s before pivoting to directing in the 1950s with shows like The Lone Ranger, Batman 66, The Brady Bunch, My Favorite Martian, and Mr. Smith Goes to Washington TV series that apparently existed for one season in the 60s.
Yeah, what an odd choice to do a TV spin-off of a movie. Like, why that movie of all things? But sure, I guess so.
I didn't look into this. Does this follow the man, the titular Mr. Smith?
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's like a sequel. I guess His Misadventures in Washington sounds like it's the premise of the show.
No, I'm obsessed with this now.
It only lasts one season, so maybe it wasn't. I mean, it couldn't have been great, but I don't know.
Because, of course, in elementary school, I was forced to watch Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, and the thought that there is a follow-up to it at all is a little surprising.
I agree. I mean, the Jimmy Stewart connection of the Jimmy Stewart and Donna Reed, right? Then you got the sequel to one of his movies. So
that's fun. That's fun.
Yeah.
For the gimmick of the episode, as far as we can tell, this seems to be the very first time in television history that a TV show has done a Rashomon-style episode. And if you don't know or don't remember what a Rashomon-style episode is, it's based on the 1950 Akira Kurosawa film Rashomon, which involves the same events of one story told from multiple perspectives by unreliable narrators. And as such, events differ in each version based on the respective narrator's point of view. If you want to learn more about Rashomon episodes, you can check out previous Gimmicks episodes on X-Files and Batman the Animated Series from 2022 for some more details about this.
Yeah, like I said, the only reason I know about this show was doing research for X-Files and just out of curiosity being like, what are some other earlier examples of a Rashomon-style episode? And like, to our knowledge, this is the first time, unless something comes up that's surprised us, I don't think either of us have come across anything that seems like that aligns with this concept that comes earlier. And I feel like it's unlikely because Rashomon itself hadn't been out that long when this episode came out. It literally had just hit the States 6 years before this episode aired, which means they were writing it even earlier than that, which means it's a very brief window of people to have even been aware of this concept of an episode showing multiple perspectives from different narrators. And like, it's entirely possible that it had nothing fucking to do with Rashomon either, right? Like, I can see this episode being conceived. Again, you know, I don't know any backstory on this episode because who's doing deep dives on Donna Reed episodes and how they were made. I can totally see thinking like, oh yeah, it feels like like I've had that experience where I thought that something went really badly and then talked to the person I was with and they were like, no, I thought that I was the one making all the mistakes. And like, that's a really common thing, especially on dates. Right. So it totally makes sense to come up with this concept. It's just, if they hadn't seen Rashomon, it's just really funny that they came up with such a similar concept, like in way less than a decade, almost just a 5-year period within each other.
And to use the exact same set pieces and to mirror some of the blocking in the scenes, that's what gives me the vibe that it really might be a Rashomon reference. Sure. That's I think the greatest evidence is particularly the blocking at the beginning of their date when they're bumping into things, because it's identically blocked. And that's the sort of thing that happened in the Kurosawa film. Yeah. So that's the only thing that made me think like, wow, this really is it. But there are stage plays going much further back than the 1950s of sort of two unreliable narrators telling the same story but being wrong about it. Yeah. This just might be the first time that television has jumped into that, really. And so it might not actually be Rashomon related. That's
fair. Yeah, it could have been more based on those earlier plays. Yeah, Rashomon's like the example that really popularized it, especially in film. But like, yeah, you're right. I think plays since like the 30s had done similar types of stories to telling things from different perspectives. So that, actually that's a really good point.
And Derek, it was the Bad Blood episode of X-Files that Gimmicks covered where you talked about Rashomon in depth.
Yes, exactly. Yes. That's the only X-Files episode we've done so far.
That's just not how I remember it. So.
Oh,
okay. Sorry. I just had to do that.
Had to happen at least once.
Okay. Well, let's jump into the episode to talk it through. We get the opening credits for the Donna Reed Show, which features some nice instrumental music going on. Donna comes downstairs, answers the phone, hands the phone to Alex. Then Donna meets Mary and Jeff at the door and sends them all off, finally kissing Alex goodbye. It's a really nice opening, but boy, if all you see is this, as adult David did, I was like, oh no, what are we in for? Because it is a little too cookie cutter mom in the house.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Look, when we had this idea for doing this one, it was very much sort of like doing it for the historic, the story, because it's important historically. Whether or not it's a good episode of TV remains to be seen. And I was a little nervous from this intro and the fact that the episode, it's a good like 11 minutes before they get into the actual like gimmicky side of it, which I think when you see it, it makes sense because it is a lot of, I think, setup for why they're even telling the story at all. But it is sort of like, was this a mistake? Is this going to be like 30 seconds of their Rashomon thing? But luckily, once you get past this opening, there's a lot of really fun stuff.
It's so good. And before I'll get into the beat by beat of the plot, this looks so fucking good. And I'm not trying to be like an artiste with an E at the end, but black and white shot films look so good. And this looks so crisp and beautiful. And I know because they're able to cheat on lighting and costuming because it will all be black and white in the end. And it just looks so good, Derek.
Oh, I mean, I think I think that's so strong about a lot of black and white sitcoms, especially, is that like you can't as easily tell that they're just on a set. Like it does look like they're in a house. And as soon as things hit color, it's just sort of like, well, that's a set. Like obviously they're on a very flat set on a stage, and you can't tell that. And there's a thing this episode does a lot, and I imagine the show does a lot just naturally because they can, with like soft lighting. Like whenever you see Donna at the New Year's dance later on, like they do like in both scenarios a shot of her right as she's entered, and it just looks like it's out of an old like MGM picture, you know, like just the soft lighting on her, just looking beautiful, standing there in her dress, like, and it's a thing that it's like not necessary to be in this episode, but I love that it's there, and it gives it this like filmic quality on a show that I'm sure did not cost anything to make, you know?
Right. Oh, pennies, right? Because we're not, it's not a huge set. We only really have a couple locations that we go to in this episode and the others that I watched. This is some nice setup cameras, couple zooms in, but not a lot else going on. And it just, oh man, it looks fantastic. And I probably, as a shithead kid watching this on WGN, was like, ugh, black and white. I couldn't possibly be bothered.
Sure. It's a normal kid. It's a normal kid response to have. I think it makes sense.
It is, but I was so wrong. You were so wrong as children.
Well, and I think a lot of people don't grow out of that either is part of the problem too.
I'm married to one of them. Oh, yeah. Spoiler alert. Mike didn't watch this one. He walked away.
Wow.
I know. But I got him to watch So Weird. So really, Gimmicks has done its job. Well, we start in Mary's room, and Mary is complaining to her mother that she doesn't like how she looks. And Donna's helping her get dressed when the phone rings, and it's a whole family affair because, you know, there's only one phone in the house, and it's located downstairs.
Yeah.
Oh, Mother, I look awful.
Don't look awful. You look lovely.
Oh, I hate the way I look. I hate my face. I hate everything about me.
Nonsense. What's wrong with your face?
Oh, I don't know. It doesn't look like me.
Well, now, can you think of one that looks more like you?
Well, maybe it looks too much like me. Honestly, if I met myself coming down the street, I wouldn't even look at me twice.
Well, naturally, you're not a boy. Here, try this on.
Boys want somebody with personality, not somebody who's just blah.
Who says that you are?
Mother, the phone. Get the phone.
I love how well observed it is. Like the way that Mary isn't just complaining how she looks. Like I think, you know, that's an easy sitcom thing, but like the things that she specifically says, she's like, it's my face. And Donna's just like, what's wrong with your face? And he's like, I don't know. It doesn't look like me, or maybe it looks too much like me. And it's like, that is such a good like distillation of like how like a body dysmorphia feels, or like if you're just having a bad like self-esteem day, like that is what it feels like. It's sort of like, I don't even know what's wrong with me. I just know that it's wrong. Like that's all I can, and that's the most horrible part because there's nothing you could do about it other than just be like, there's just something wrong here and it looks bad. Right. I don't know.
I love that she starts to even talk herself into maybe it looks too much like me. Yeah. And that's like, it's so good. Mary is fantastic. This is a great opening scene. We're right bought into the conflict. This is where we get a great line from her where she says, oh, I think I'll take an aspirin, or will that just make me jittery? Yeah. Just knowing that was like something that would be taken in order to like calm or like resolve your nerves.
Yeah. And it's Shelley Fabre who plays her, who's had like a really long career since then. Is she still alive? I think she's still alive too. Yeah. Yeah. You know, and it's just like, it's funny because she's kind of just in this like kind of seemingly just like thankless, like typical teenage girl role. But like, I feel like there's a lot of interesting, like subtle comedy, at least in this episode, because they are
so good.
Because they don't play the stuff over the top. The whole joke is that Mary is like ridiculously nervous about this date with a kid that she doesn't know. And then like Donna ends up getting nervous by association. And neither of them play it cartoonishly in a way that I think you could like miss. But like they're playing it for the comedy of just sort of like, if you think about it, it's like, it is weird how nervous they are, and the things that they're saying make absolutely no sense.
Yeah. But it's also so fully realized, and we'll talk about it later. There's like some moments of small talk that are possibly like the best filmed small talk I've ever seen in my entire life.
It's so well observed. It's so well observed. Yeah.
But when Jeff answers the phone, he comes up and he says, hey, I know you've got a double date with Herbie and these other two people whose names I didn't write down. They can't go, so it's just going to be you and Herbie. And this causes the anxiety to escalate tremendously. We also learn here that Herbie is 2 years older. He's a senior and he's a brain, which is a really big part of his character.
Yeah, it's surprised. I don't know if maybe it was more the time period, but I feel like I was still so surprised that she's not nervous that he's just like this out of their league hottie, right? It's like it's not that it's sort of like, oh, this hot man is this big smoke show has asked me out. It's just they're just nervous because he's smart. Like he's literally so smart. It's that he's smart. And she's like, I'm worried that I'm going to be boring to him because he's smarter than me. Which is like, and that's like a real thing, right? Like that is a real thing to feel low self-esteem for me, nervous about. Like, am I just going to look stupid to someone? But it surprised me to see that on TV, that's the person that they're melting over is just like a guy who was smart. Like they don't even comment on his looks whatsoever. Yeah. I just find that so fascinating.
Yeah. And they even use the term brain, which I also think is like nestled in this time period. But I think that probably even before we were kids, I even think like when Grease rolls around, calling someone a brain is almost an insult.
You call him a nerd.
Yeah. Exactly. And yet here it's like the pinnacle of masculinity and manhood for this date.
I kind of love it. And it's like, and even when you meet the guy like later, like he's not like, he is kind of a nerd. Like he's very awkward and like, and he's a good looking man because he's an actor in Hollywood in the 50s, but they don't try to make him appear hotter than he is,
Yeah. Well, and he stands next to Alex in every scene he's in. And you and I only have eyes for one man, and
you can't compare. You cannot compare.
You just can't. Yeah, and then we conclude the scene with Jeff uttering the first of many instances of a character saying, have fun. I know you've talked about this on other gimmicks, but like television episodes are named, but no one was ever really supposed to know the names.
Yeah.
And so it's wild that this is like a callback that constantly goes to the title of the episode.
There's a lot of ways in which this episode feels really modern, and that's one of them. Because, an easy title for this episode, it would be something like Alex and Mary's date, or like The Bad Date, or something like that. And the fact that it is just like a phrase that characters utter multiple times, and it's always said ironically. Like, I mean, even when people are trying to say it sincerely, it's always just sort of like, but they're not going to have fun. That's the joke.
Right.
Like it's such a, again, it just felt kind of a really modern thing, especially because like you said, the people watching at home wouldn't know that's the title of the episode.
Yeah. We also get this. I totally forgot about this, but when Jeff reveals that it's hives that have caused the entire thing to fall off base, Mary asks, "Are hives contagious?" And Donna goes, "Of course not." But then when the scene ends, she starts scratching it under her collar, and it's really funny because has Donna interacted with this friend at all that she could have caught hives?
But I think it's like she's catching. It's more like hives aren't catching, but then she's catching hives from her daughter.
Yeah,
and hives essentially being catching her daughter's own nervousness, because then suddenly, by the next scene, Donna is completely transformed and is absolutely cannot handle how nervous she is over her daughter's date. It's really smartly written. Yeah. Like it's very good, and I think it's the first time I noticed, and then continue to notice with this episode, that like I understand why Donna Reed won an Oscar, because like you can always. She's not sitting there waiting for the joke. You can always tell that she is thinking, like, you can tell that her character is like processing what she's hearing and thinking about what to say. And even when there isn't a joke that she is making, there's sometimes comedy just out of her facial expressions in how she's responding. And like this whole sequence, it's like, you can sort of see the transition of her at first, like not giving a shit, like you're just going on a date. It's no big deal. You've been on dates before. Who cares? And then like gradually becoming more and more like, yeah, but what if? Oh, but he is a brain. Oh, but maybe hives are catching. Like, and then and so it makes sense when she suddenly had this turn and just being a nervous wreck.
Oh, it's so good. It's such a good episode of television.
Yeah. So we get to the next scene in the Reed living room. Mary and Donna come downstairs, and, Alex, a big smoke show Alex, is just preoccupied with a medical journal.
Mother, does my slip show? No, not now. But if you keep tugging at those straps... Look, honey, everything's going to be all right. Alex, doesn't she look lovely?
Lovely.
Alex, what are you reading?
Medical journal. What?
Could you take just a moment to look at your daughter?
I just said she looked beautiful.
I know, but don't just say it.
What's all the frenzy about?
She's going out with Herbie Shields.
So?
Well, Daddy, we're going out alone. I don't even know Herbie.
Well, then why are you going out with him?
Oh. Alex, will you just read and not say anything, please?
I'll be glad to.
Dude, at least like look up from your fucking magazine, man. Like, are you kidding me?
Come on, man. It's totally era appropriate, but he is reading a stapled together piece of paper. And I was like, is this how we sent medical information to doctors? And it absolutely is. I have looked up old medical journals, and this is exactly what they looked like. So the prop department was doing their job, but it looked like just a joke. Jeff's comic, I don't know how zoomed in you got on this. It looked like he was reading manga.
Really interesting. I did not look at that too deeply. That's kind of cool.
There were Japanese characters on it. I don't know if that was intentional or whatever, but I was very surprised to see that.
That's so funny. I do like the detail too of like Jeff obviously doesn't really get much into this episode.
Jeff's
and he's
done.
and he's like, I mean, he's like the weakest part of it really. He just like says your typical kid stuff annoyingly and then disappears. Like whatever, who cares? But I do like the detail of like, he's literally just sitting on the couch. He's sitting on the couch upside down, which is a very kid thing, but that's like the most whimsical thing that he's doing. And everybody's just like, Jeff, get the fuck out, dude. You're ruining everything. And he's like, I'm reading a comic book. I'm not even really saying anything. Like,
Mother, are you sure this looks all right? Maybe I should have worn a skirt and blouse.
It looks just fine.
Oh, Jeff, do you have to lie all over the place?
Who's lying all over the place?
Jeff, get up.
What for?
You heard your mother. Get up. Go and do your homework.
The teacher didn't give us any homework tonight.
Do tomorrow night's homework.
You folks certainly know how to make a fella feel at home.
It's so good. It's so good because the dialogue in the story only almost has to like fake that he's annoying in order to sell what they're saying, but it all works. It all somehow works, and it works really well.
Because we've all had this experience, right? Where it's like you are nervous, and like if you are nervous and stressed out about something, it can kind of turn you into a monster. Like the points when I probably yelled the most and flown off the handle the most, or like yelled at my cat or something, is when I'm like annoyed or stressed, and then a cat meows or someone asks me a question, and it's just like, I don't know, leave me alone, just do it yourself, like, because you can't, and it's just the comedy is just that they are so stressed over this one teenage boy coming over, like to the point that, again, another well-observed thing that Mary is just like, how's my dress? Is my dress okay? How's it look? I'm going to change. And like, she just changes. And I'm like, yeah, I've been through that. On the days when I'm stressed out about something, I have changed my clothes so many goddamn times, and nothing seems to fit right. Nothing seems to feel right. Nothing looks right. I notice every minute detail, every outfit I have ever had in my entire life is just awful in that moment. Like, it's just extremely well-observed and so relatable.
Yeah, it's so great. I do also love that after Alex has torn himself away from his medical journey to look, as soon as Donna realizes that he is not going to de-escalate the situation just through his very presence, she says, fuck you, go back to your damn journal.
It's so good.
It's so good.
And it's like, again, it's really like subtly played, you know, like you could do a cartoonish version of it that would be hysterically funny.
Sure.
But I think it's almost funnier and feels more realistic that like it is kind of, they're like quietly sniping at each other and just sort of, you know, like the madness is so subdued, but you can feel it. You can feel the tension that it's just like they are about to just collapse in how nervous they are. And like that is what's so funny about it, because it's should be such a mundane, chill situation.
Yeah. Well, the scene ends with the doorbell being rung, and Donna runs to the door to admit Herbie into the scene. Yeah. Right beforehand, she gives herself a little last-minute check to make sure she looks okay. She's trying to impress
this
him.
Teenager.
And Herbie comes in, as we've mentioned. He looks fine because he's an actor in Hollywood. Like, duh.
Yeah,
he's cute.
It's George Hamilton, who does go on to have like a huge, like, he's been in like every television show ever made up to a certain point. Like, huge career.
And I don't know if you checked this out, but he's Herbie for a little while longer. Like, Herbie is recurring on Donna Reed. Maybe not legally recurring like for contracts, but he comes back for a few episodes.
Yeah, and I think this is one of his earliest roles, which, so it's just, you know, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to see that. And I mean, he's good in this role too, because I think he does balance the like he is awkward and off-putting, but he's not like creepy. It's just sort of like he just comes across as an awkward teenager who doesn't really know what to do in the situation, and that's all you need.
But let's be clear, not a teenager, right? Mid-20s.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Maybe
old ass man.
Old ass man, absolutely. And you know, the suit and tie and trench coat.
Yeah, that probably doesn't do any favors
either.
And the extremely gelled hair. It's perfect. I mean, it's just very, very late 50s.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So Herbie's invited in. He meets Alex. Mary calls upstairs for her mother, and Donna runs upstairs. / good catch on this. Donna falls up the stairs.
It's so good.
Oh my God. It's wildly funny because it's not really played for a laugh.
Yeah.
It happens and then it's recovered from, and she just keeps going. I mean, she mugs to the camera, to like the scene real quick.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's hilarious. And it's that sort of thing. It's the hives from earlier. Like, Donna Reed is funny.
Yeah, it's interesting because she is not Lucille Ball funny. Like,
right.
She is not doing that. And I think that that's smart. She is intentionally trying to play things a lot more subtly. She is doing like what you would expect a dramatic actor to be doing in a comedic role, which is you play it kind of realistically, and the comedy is mined from a serious person like doing something silly and being kind of embarrassed by it. Like, you don't expect your beautiful, pristine smoke show mom who has it all together to be so nervous that she literally trips and falls while she's running upstairs to get her daughter. Like, it's good.
Yeah. Well, Alex and Herbie are having a conversation. It is very awkward. The orchestration is doing a lot of the heavy lifting in the silences between each other.
Well, Harvey, so you go to the high school too, huh?
Herbie.
What's that?
Herbie, I say my name is Herbie.
Oh. Of course. Sorry, I don't know where I got Harvey. So, you go to the high school too?
Yes, sir.
You like it?
Oh, yes, sir.
Oh, that's good. Well, what are prospects for the track team this year?
The track team?
Yeah, they had a pretty good one last year.
Are you interested in track?
Well, aren't you?
No, sir. I'm interested in science.
Science, really? Well, that's interesting. I'm a scientist myself. Medical scientist. I'm a doctor.
I know. Why are you so interested in track?
This is where Herbie says that he's studying science, and we get a line from Alex, I'm something of a scientist myself. Like, and it's just wild because, no, you're a doctor. Like, this guy's studying, like, how atoms are connected to each other.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, it's so funny. And it's just like, I think you were right. I have never seen small talk with a stranger portrayed so well in how much it absolutely goddamn sucks and is so awkward. Every interaction I've ever had with like a coworker that I don't really know, but like you're sitting there waiting for the microwave or your coffee machine or something, or in the elevator, like in an environment where you have to say words to each other and can't escape it for a few minutes. Like, every interaction I've ever had feels exactly like what is happening here.
Yeah.
Like, there's no malice or anything. They're both just trying to just handle the situation. But they're on completely different wavelengths, and their personalities don't really jibe, and they like know that, but can't do anything about it, and still are trying to keep up the conversation anyway. And it just fails with every single thing that they say, just like doesn't go anywhere or makes them look or feel stupid. Every single thing. It's
so great. At one point in time, Alex asks about how the track team's doing, and Herbie is like, oh, you're interested in the men's track team? And I got a little like vibe off of it because obviously I watch things with a queer lens, but it's not there. It's not there in any way, shape, or form. But it was laugh out loud funny to me because like, why would a grown man be interested in the track team? Like, Jeff's not on the track team. Mary's not on the track team.
It's like he like learned one bit of information about the school. Like he read in the newspaper that like, oh, the high school my kids go to like won a track tournament. Cool. And like, that's literally the only thing he can remember about the school. So it's the only thing he can think to bring up. It's like, I guess this is the thing everyone's talking about, right? Not if you're not into track. No, you wouldn't care.
Or just like, I don't know. They run around a circle, I guess. This is cool.
Right.
It's so great. It's so wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah. So we cut back to Mary's room where Mary has changed into that blouse and skirt. Donna is trying to reassure Mary, who continues to be in a panic. They obviously are not really helping each other because both of them are kind of panicking over this.
They're like amping each other up too. Nobody's coming down. It's only up, up.
Yeah.
At the end, sort of content that Mary looks as good as she could, Donna gives her a quick spray of perfume and then rushes out behind her and just hands the perfume to Jeff. And Jeff gets like his only fun thing to do, which is like look at the perfume, smell it real quickly, and be like a younger kid brother and be like, this stinks. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's kind of the only thing. But we do come down the stairs. Nice shot. Because again, this is a single set, but we are shooting just the stairwell, which was interesting. Cinematography. Mm-hmm. Mary apologizes to Herbie for making him wait. They talk about where they're going for the evening. Finally, and I need to emphasize here, finally landing on going to the movies.
Well, what are you two going to do this evening?
Well, I don't know exactly. I mean, I thought Tui and Babs were coming.
Me too.
They had something cooked up. I don't know what.
Well, there's always the movies.
Well, what would you like to do?
Well, I don't know, Herbie. What would you like to do?
I don't know. Anything you'd like to do.
There's always the movies.
Anything's all right with me, Herbie.
Me too. How about going to the movies?
Oh, that's a marvelous idea.
Good thought. That's fine.
Oh my God. This like teen indecisiveness. Like I remember being in those situations. You're just hanging out with your friends. Like, I don't know. What do you want to do? I don't know. What do you want to do? I don't know. What do you want to do? Actually not even teen, like people that, I mean, as adults, just like, where do you want to go to dinner tonight? I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you want to do? I don't know. What do you want to do?
Let me save everyone on the listenership marriage. Just have some restaurants that you're ready to go to at a moment's notice. Because this indecision is just one of the worst things in the world. And Donna and Alex are trying to help. They even say like, oh, you could go to the movies. And then it's right back to ping pong between Herbie and Mary being like, well, movies happen. Movies exist. Like, what do you think about that? Well, I guess we could go to the movie.
Yeah, and everyone is just so fucking miserable. All for the thing that, like, again, it should be fun. That's why the have fun mantra of this episode is like so funny and ironic. Is that's just like going on a date with someone should, like, the intention is that it's fun, and yet it is the most miserable experience every single person in this entire house.
Yes,
for no reason, out of just completely unfounded fears over nothing.
Yeah. Luckily, they don't have to worry about what movie they're seeing because later we'll learn that they went into a drive-in. Thank God, or they probably never would have finished the date. They would have just been staring at the marquee the whole time.
Right.
Oh, bless.
Well, it's later that night. The Reed bedroom opens with a shot of the bedside clock telling us it's 10:15 p.m. So they're staying out late. Alex is falling asleep because, you know, like us, his bedtime is around 10. And Donna's like still wired. She's like, you got to stay awake. We got to know how this goes. We have to know how this goes. Like, she's still nervous for her daughter. Like, she's so invested in this now. Like, so invested. It's so good. He goes over and I think he's, you know, going to kiss her, hug her or something. As soon as you hear the door downstairs, Donna straight up fucking pushes this man. She shoves him like across the room and sprints out. It's so funny. It's like such a good, the physical comedy in this episode is really good. Like,
it's so funny. I am laughing just even thinking about the shove because
I laughed out loud when that happened. It's so unexpected. It's just like out of nowhere.
Unexpected.
She fucking darts him and like she darts him out of the frame. Like you can imagine he's been thrown across the room.
Yes. I will say on a second watch through, I was like, wow, this is a little unbelievable, but it's so funny that my suspension was there. Like, so I didn't even like break on it.
Yeah. Cause it's so funny because he's such a gigantic man that she's just like throwing across the room.
Yes. And I will say that it was this scene looking at separate beds, this gorgeous man in his like beautiful linen men's dress clothes for the evening. This show is going to turn me conservative because I wish I lived in the 50s right here. I truly do. Like if this is the America we're trying to get back to, I'm just kidding. This is probably awful, but I would love separate beds. I think separate beds are a must.
Wow. I mean, I don't necessarily, well, it's nice to have it as an option. I will say that. I do get that.
Go
sometimes.
away.
Not all the time, but I get it sometimes.
It's wonderful. So we're back in the foyer / living room. Mary comes in and reveals the date was awful, and that takes us to the commercial break. When we get back, Donna is going to comfort Mary. Mary tells her tale of woe. They went to a drive-in movie and then a drive-in hamburger place. They never got out of the car, and she just didn't have anything to say, possibly because he was so smart, or at least that's what she thought.
Yeah.
And she feels like the date was an absolute disaster and there is no way to possibly recover from it. And to comfort her, Donna decides that she's going to tell the story of her first date with Alex. And this is where we get the gimmick of the episode, which is the memory of this first date first told from Donna's perspective.
It was New Year's Eve of all times. He'd reserved a table at this hotel. Oh, Daddy was handsome, even in those days. While there I was in a horrible dress I'd borrowed from my roommate. I was all pinned together, afraid to draw a breath for fear something awful would happen, and afraid to let it out for fear of something worse.
It's so fun because like it would be really easy to just be like, okay, well, we're going to retell Mary and Herbie's date that they just had or something like that. But I think it's like smarter for one, because Donna obviously is the lead character, and like her and Alex are probably at this point in their lives, probably just better actors doing this than, than the two younger ones are. But also I think it kind of works because it ends up being a little bit of an unexpected turn when you're watching it, and then feels stronger thematically because it's more like, the sort of Rashomon concept is what helps everybody sort of learn a lesson that then can carry and improve Mary and Herbie's experience, right? Or at least like, sheds a new light on their experience. Instead of it just being just about this one date, it ends up being about the concept of interacting with people and going on dates with people and how you can read things differently.
Yeah. So in both memories, there are 7 major set pieces that we walk through in order to capture the differences in these two folks' memories. And we'll go one by one through them because I think that's probably the best way to talk about it from a Rashomon perspective.
Yeah.
But Donna's describing that she came to this date scared to death, that she wanted to make a good first impression, but everything went wrong. And we get that harp music and that sort of wave fade in between reality and the dream sequence, which I guess even by 1959, we are to understand this is dream. This is how dreams work, or memories work, is that you get some sort of flowy music and the wave.
Yeah. Yeah. So good.
So we do the entrance first, and Alex is walking in confidently, handsome. He's standing upright. He's sort of almost dominating the room. And Donna enters just a mess. She is wearing a dress that is 2 or 3 sizes too big. It is ill-fitting. It does not complement her figure. And she looks so scared and anxious.
Yeah. She's like the meekness that Donna Reed maybe got criticized for. Like that's what she's playing in this.
That's
like
fair.
she is playing this like really like meek, nervous, like just trying to impress a man kind of character in her flashback, which I think likes a lot. I like a lot in how it creates I think I understand her actual character a little better when seeing this sort of contrasting it,
Yeah. Yeah. They need to be seated. So Alex snaps his fingers and is instantly recognized by the head waiter, who seats them immediately. But Donna, on her way to the table, bumps into things, stumbles on the stairs, accidentally gets turned around like she's going to walk out of the restaurant. Yeah. And Alex has to be the one to guide them to their table.
It's good physical comedy because, again, it's nothing over the top. It's nothing too cartoonish. It's kind of realistic, but like the rapid pace in which it happens of her falling and then flowing right into bumping into the cart and then turning around. I love the like look of just like confusion. And she looks like just like an empty-headed idiot. Just like, where am I? Where am I? It's like, that's where we came in, sweetie. Like, it's like she thinks that she is the dumbest person on earth in her memory. It's so funny.
And Alex's face is that of almost like a dance partner where he is sort of like gliding through this very effortlessly, unlike me saying that word, and just like trying to catch her as she falls and stumbles and gets turned around.
Yeah. Yeah. So they end up at the table, and what I like, one of I think like this whole sequence, great rewatch value, because you see Alex looking at the placard on the table, but doesn't really have much of a reaction to it. And that comes into play in a big way in Alex's perspective of events when we actually see what he's seeing and how that influences everything that he does going forward. But in Donna's memory, like she barely even she remembers that happening, I guess, but she barely even clocks that as being anything other than him just like being more interested in everything else at the table than her. Like, it's really smartly done for like a little detail like that. And then Alex is sort of like,
I don't like being too close to the band, do you?
Well, no, I don't.
Cigarette?
No, thank you. There doesn't seem to be many people here, does there?
No, I guess we're a little early, actually. I imagine it'll fill up later on.
Yes, I imagine it will. I guess we are early.
Yes, I guess so.
Oh, look, horns. I guess we're supposed to blow them later.
Yes, I guess so.
You know, I like it. I like this table because it's far away from the band. Don't you agree? And Donna's like, yeah, I guess so.
It's so suave the way he says it. It's almost sexy and intimate.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, I want to be here with you. Like, that's what matters to me, not this stupid band.
Yeah. Or it's just like these are my tastes and I'm in full control. This is what I like.
Yeah. He offers her a cigarette. She says no. He also remarks that they're just a little bit early and it'll fill up more later. And again, it's just so suave. It's just so cool. And Donna points out the horns on the table and says, we're supposed to blow them later.
It's so funny. The way that she says it, I laugh. It's like, I don't know why I laugh so hard at this. I think it's the way that she delivers it. She's like, oh, horns. I guess we're supposed to blow them later. And it's like, yeah, no shit. Like, and like she immediately recognized afterwards, like, why did I say that? Like, why? Like, duh. Like, why did I say that? It's like, yes, that's the point. Like,
yeah, that's what Alex responds. Like, yeah, that's what they're there for.
I feel so bad for her, but again, it's sort of like I have felt that way before. I'm just sort of like, why the hell did I say that? Like, that is I just like you feel like you need to say something in that moment, and the thing you choose to say is just like the most basic ass like bullshit ever because you truly can't think of anything else to say.
Yeah, it'd be like being on a first date and being like, wow, this bread tastes good dipped in olive oil. Like, yeah, no fuck. Like, that's why people have been doing it for 3,000 years.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Or even, I think even like more basic, just sort of like, oh, wow, they gave us bread. Like, we're in a restaurant. That happens.
Babe. That's pretty normal, actually. Oh my God. So good. But Alex steps away for a telephone call, and Donna's inner monologue here is that Alex must have been so bored with her that he went to go phone another girl. And wow, Donna, some therapy, my girl. No.
The lack of self-esteem. It's so sad. And then he comes back, and then immediately, like, as soon as he says sad, it's sort of like, oh, I got another call to make, which like does look really bad if you see that happening. Like, he seems to be completely disinterested and completely occupied with something with just not her at all. And I totally understand her reading is like, wow, I must be the most boring person on earth to this guy.
Yeah. And she's just stuck there by herself. She can't get up. She can't go anywhere. She feels terrible about the dress. She keeps fiddling with it, eventually loosing a corsage of orchids that were on her dress that fall directly into her soup.
Yeah. The orchid thing, I don't really get, it doesn't really come up again at all. Like, no, because she's worried about it, but nobody comments on it. And then I don't think does it come up in his perspective of it?
It does. Let's get to it because I think this only works on a rewatch. And this is one of the things that sort of sells this as a Rashomon for me because it's this small part of world building of their date that you only get in Alex's version and means really nothing except that it's kind of funny that your corsage fell in soup.
Yeah. Okay, well, we'll get to that then.
Oh, I'm really excited.
Okay.
We take a brief break from the memory to go back to the living room. Donna tells Mary that Alex kept making phone calls, and she talks about leading up to midnight. Oh, we haven't mentioned this, but it's New Year's Eve. So midnight, midnight is pretty substantial, and transitions back to her memory of what she calls the worst part of all.
Somehow we got trapped into dancing. He was a marvelous dancer, but for some reason I just couldn't follow him. I don't know, they kept playing tangos or something. I'm sorry.
My fault entirely.
Ladies and gentlemen, in just 10 seconds we will say hello to the new year.
This was the moment I dreaded most. Everyone would be kissing everyone, and he'd think he had to kiss me. Now, what should I do? Excuse myself and then run to the ladies' room?
Happy New Year, everybody! Hooper! Excuse me. Happy New Year, Doctor.
Well, Happy New Year yourself, Doc.
Boy, am I glad to see you.
You was trying to unlove me on a friend. That was too much.
Excuse me? The thing is, I'm kind of stuck. Be a pal, will you?
What did you do after that, Mother?
Well, what could I do? I just made up my mind never to speak to him again.
It is pretty bad in her defense. It does not look good because they're dancing, which when you're having a bad night, dancing is not a thing you want to be doing if you don't think you're into each other. But they're doing, and the way that they film it too is so good because like they are just right in the middle of the frame, just surrounded by people dancing like right up at them, to the point that they can barely even move. Like they're literally stuck. Like they visualize the feeling of just being absolutely stuck on this bad date and cannot go anywhere. It's really well done.
We get an announcement over the PA that New Year's is in 10 seconds, and Donna has been dreading this impending kiss. So she closes her eyes, she braces her face, and Alex sort of leans in, but at the last minute, a friend calls him over and he leaves.
Yikes. Bad look, man.
Indeed. She is distraught about this and believes that Alex was trying to pawn her right then and there off on a friend because she hears him say that he's kind of stuck. And she interprets that to mean that he's trying to find somebody else for her to go home with or whatever. Not go home with. It's when they started dating. So it's like in the 40s. Absolutely not go home with.
I mean, I don't know.
I mean, I would go home with Alex Stone, but not his friend.
Absolutely.
But we get a little bit of that, but Donna is so sure it's about her that she runs off upset, and that takes us out of the memory.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so funny because then immediately correct reaction from Mary, because it's sort of like we hear this whole story about this horrible date. And the thing is, I think what's really funny about it is like Donna doesn't follow it up with sort of like, but then we got together and it all worked out. It's just sort of like, yeah, your father and I's date was awful and I left feeling like shit. And Mary's like, Mom, I don't know how this is supposed to make me feel better. Like,
no.
Donna's like, it's just that everything turns out okay in the end. And it's like, does it though?
Yeah. And then she's like, good night, honey. Goodbye. It's so funny. It's so funny. Like, you too will be in an abusive relationship with a man who tries to pawn you off on his friend. Good luck.
Right. It's like, yep, you'll be married with Herbie forever, and we'll always remember the first date as the worst night of your life, and nothing will ever change. Bye.
But Donna isn't that cold-hearted. Back up in the bedroom, she is continuing to fret about this. She wakes up Alex, who is awake, and implores him to go downstairs and talk to Mary to reassure her.
So Alex goes to Mary's bedroom, and Mary is like, yeah, Mom told me the story of your first date. And Alex is like, yeah, it was a really rough night, wasn't it? So, of course, it is funny because, like, in universe, it is a little bit silly for your daughter to be like, Mom told me about your first date. And then for you to be like, now I'm going to tell you about your first date.
Tell you about
it's sort of like, okay, like it kind of only works for the concept of two sides of the story.
Yeah.
And it is just kind of funny. It's just like, well, now I'm going to tell you the story that you literally just heard minutes ago.
Yeah. But he begins it all, before we're even in the harp music, wavy transition memory, he begins it by talking about the orchids and how expensive they were. And he had no idea that one orchid would be this expensive, let alone the number he needed to buy to make this corsage. So to him, the stakes of the orchid corsage are very, very high because he's trying to impress Donna.
Got it. That's the significance of calling it out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because it
doesn't matter to her at all. Like, at all.
The whole, she was always worried about his perspective on giving it to her as a gift, when him giving it to her as a gift is what causes every problem he has that night going forward. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
Orchids are actually very important to this. That's fun. That is actually very clever.
Isn't that cute? I loved it. And I loved that it was a part of the story that appeared outside of the memory flashback as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I like that. I'm sold on the orchids now.
Here we go. I'm selling orchids in case anyone else wants to buy.
Sounds good. Apparently they're very expensive, so I guess they'll make,
they'll make
quite a bit of money.
Hard no for me, actually. But we get an exact same retelling of these 7 set pieces. So whereas Donna remembered Alex walking in confident, king of the room, in Alex's memory, he comes in and his voiceover is talking about this tuxedo he had to rent. And how it didn't fit properly. And in his memory, his tux looks like garbage.
There went half my cash assets before the evening was even started. Interns don't make much, you know. Oh, and I'd had to rent a tuxedo. There went another $5. Didn't fit me either. Sleeves too short, so were the trousers. I must have looked like Ichabod Crane. Sure felt like it. Your mother? Oh, she was a living dream. As if she'd stepped right out of Vogue. Well, anyway, we turned up at the hotel about 2 hours too early. The head waiter took one look and knew I didn't belong there. Dr. Stone?
Dr. Stone? Dr. Stone?
I figured maybe if I tipped him, that might help. There went another $1.
I mean, he still is the hottest man on earth.
Oh, well, take it off, Daddy.
So
take it off. Like, these ill-fitting sleeves are doing nothing for you. Just go shirtless.
Yeah. And Donna, meanwhile, of course, she looks incredible. She's absolutely bespoke in this, like perfect. It's the same dress that you saw in the previous scene, but it just fits her now.
It's fitted correctly.
Yeah. And she looks incredible. She's like, I like the word you chose for her as statuesque, because that is so accurate. Like this Donna Reed, and this is like movie star persona.
Yes.
Donna Reed.
Yes.
It looks like she is like walking on the red carpet as photographers are like taking pictures of her in her fashionable dress that was tailored just for her specifically. And Alex is just like awkwardly like kind of shuffling around and like pulling down his sleeves and stuff like that. Like it doesn't, it like they look really hot together, but it is very clear that like one person is fully in control and the other person isn't, And I mean, it's like, obviously we're stating the obvious. That's the whole premise of the episode, that it's flipping perspectives, but it is well represented in this concept. And for this being the first time you've ever seen something like this on TV, to just see the exact same thing you just saw, but completely flipped and having to be acted by the actors that way, I think it is really cool to have seen that pretty much nailed the first time that they ever do that.
Yeah. And I want to say that like really major props to Reed's acting here, because she pulls off this really delicate balance of almost looking like everything is beneath her in this room.
Yeah.
Because she's heavenly. And yet communicating so much warmth towards Alex as this man she's on a date with. I never felt like she was acting coolly to him. And yet every time I saw her, I was like, oh, you're too good for this.
Yeah.
Nice place, I guess.
She's just intimidating. She's not mean.
Yes.
She's not mean, and she's not haughty in this. I think it would have been really easy to play her as haughty, but that wouldn't make sense for Alex's retelling of it, because it's not, Alex never looks down on her. He's always looking down on herself. So it makes sense for her to just be intimidating. And the best way to portray being intimidating is to look like you are just better than everything that you were around, like to just be portrayed like this is a genuine movie star who was walked into this room as just fucking plebes, like you know, like, and it's not because she is that haughty. It's because that is just what if any movie star walked into my living room, it would be the same way,
Yes, agreed. So now we get to the part of them being seated, and Alex really nervously tells the head waiter his name, and the head waiter is having none of it. And so Alex eventually has to bribe him. But when the head waiter notices how small the tip is, he just takes note of it, and that comes back to us when they get seated.
Okay, how close he gets to that waiter, like, do you notice like he is like their chests, his chest is touching that waiter's back, and he's like basically like it looks like he's sniffing his neck, like it is, the blocking is unreal with this. He's so up in his business.
So I only noticed this in my second watch through. I didn't catch it on the first one, but when I was watching it on the second watch through, I wondered why they were suddenly so close together. And I couldn't tell. There was no camera reason, it didn't seem like. And so the only thing I can draw from it is it was just more about how nervous he was. Like, that it's so awkward that he even had to be close to this person.
Yeah, I think that's how I read it too. Because you're right. Yeah, the blocking, it does not make any sense for him to be that close. And I think that it makes it look more awkward for one, and I think makes him look more desperate too. That he's just sort of that, like, he has to get right up at this waiter for the waiter to even notice that this guy, that this poor man who doesn't belong here, even notices him. You know, and immediately, like, when he does see him, just turns his nose up at him. Like, he just, like, he feels like he's a beggar, like asking for handouts from this guy, I think is how they're trying to portray it, you know? And it is awkward. Like, and he is very good considering how, like, confident his character is normally. It is very funny to see him just be just this absolute fucking wreck of a person.
Yeah. Then we get the walk to the table, and it is the exact same missteps that Donna had replayed as Alex. He stumbles down the stairs, bumps into the cart, gets turned around, and accidentally starts walking out when Donna redirects him to the correct direction. I played these side by side. The timing is not exact, but the steps are identical.
Yeah, the choreography is really on point. Like, and it took a lot. It had to be hard to do that because they do have to flow from, it's only like 3 things that happen, but they have to flow like kind of effortlessly from one little misstep to the next. And it has to be hard to film it one way, memorize the choreography, probably do multiple takes of it to get it exactly right, get the timing right, and then be like, okay, do it. But all of the blocking you just learned, now you have to unlearn that and do the exact opposite, but still do the same thing in the same places and time it the same way, but you're doing each other's steps. Like, that's got to be really hard to, like, wrap your head around, you know, especially if they're filming them. I imagine they're probably filming them pretty much back to back just because it's probably easier to do it that way.
They have to be. Yeah.
And so to have to, like, rewire your brain in that instant to, like, relearn the choreography, it's got to be, like, more challenging than you would think it is for something that quick.
And the whole time, one of you act like the most nervous you've ever been, and one of you act like a confident, hot person.
Yeah, they're playing 2 different characters essentially in their perspectives. Yeah.
Well, they get seated at the table, and we get Alex's voiceover commenting on how poor the placement is, probably because he gave such a shitty tip to the maitre d'.
Since there were no tables on the fire escape, the head waiter gave us the worst table in the room. I don't like to sit too close to the band, do you?
No, I don't.
Would you like a cigarette?
No, thank you.
I wasn't sure whether she hated me or despised me, but I soon had a more important problem to solve. Holy smoke. All I had left was $16. Well, I had to get somebody to come down and bail me out. Would you excuse me, please? I have a telephone call to make.
Certainly.
He writes it off casually as, I like being far away from the band.
Like he's trying to cover for, like, the mistake that he made, essentially.
Yeah.
Like, rather than exuding, like, self-confidence and control over the situation.
Exactly. But unlike in Donna's memory, when it was so suave and sexy and I want to hear you, not the band, it is, I just wanted to be far away from the band. It's great.
And Donna's just like, yeah, I guess it's fine.
It's fine. Yeah, it's fine. Whatever. I'm Donna Reed.
Yeah. I don't care. This is all beneath me anyway. And, the waiter puts a placard in front of Alex, and just like in the last time, in Donna's perspective, like, we see him look at it, but in Donna's, it just looks like it's just because he was just trying to, like, not pay attention to her. In this case, he's, like, completely consumed and his world is shaken by seeing this cover charge for this New Year's party of $10 per person. And Alex is like, I have $16 to my name.
Yeah.
I'm going to get arrested. I'm going to get arrested tonight.
Yes, his fear is he will be going to jail at the end of the evening.
It's like, no wonder he's so nervous about this.
Yes, because we're on a Monopoly board right now. Like, if you don't have the cash for second place in a beauty competition, you're going to jail. Like, this is not just a cute little, like, I'm going to wash dishes thing that would be like the sitcom standby for years to come. He is legitimately afraid of being arrested.
Yeah. And like, I know, haha, $10. Wow, that's nothing when you watch old movies. But I do think, for context, $10 in 2023 would be over $100. So like, that is if you are a young, like just out of school, like I know he's technically a doctor, but like he's not making doctor money yet in his life. So if you are just a young, fresh out of college person who's struggling, I remember $100 being a lot of money, let alone $200, especially right after the holidays on New Year's Eve. Like, and that's just the cover charge. Like that,
just
they
the cover charge.
Have to pay more for drinks and stuff, right? So like, what? Like that is a lot of money. I understand why he's suddenly having a meltdown.
Yeah. I think that and I guess it is sort of my brand to relitigate old shows, but I wish that there was a version of this in which they were supposed to be on a double date as well. And
I love that. Yeah.
Maybe somebody else was supposed to help with the cover charge, that it was supposed to be a bigger thing. That's why Alex's name wasn't on the list. And that would give a little bit more synergy with Mary's story. But as is, it really is perfect. So I don't know why I am complaining.
But I mean, because of this immediately, it becomes pretty clear like why he was running off, right?
Yeah.
In Donna's versions, it actually had absolutely nothing to do with her. It is fully because he's found a problem that he has put himself in and has to figure out a solution. So you can not only like and try to enjoy the date and impress this woman, but also just like literally not go to jail. So he the reason he steps away for the phone call is like he is just frantically trying to call every single friend he's ever known, I think, to be like, can I borrow money? Can you come here? Can you loan me some cash? Can you come here and bail me out right now, man?
But no one's home. It's New Year's Eve, my man. They're all at weird parties like this.
Right. Smart ops. Yeah, actually, like smart to put it on New Year's Eve because it means that literally no one can help in this situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But unlike Donna's story, where we get a quick interlude back to Mary, we just keep going with Alex's version of events. So we're ripe to suddenly dancing, and Donna and Alex are dancing.
Finally, it got to be midnight, and I was fit to be tied. Sorry.
It's all right.
Ladies and gentlemen, in just 10 seconds, we will say hello to the new year.
Yes, and in 1 hour and 10 seconds, I'd be in jail. How would I ever explain it to her?
And the sweat on this man that they must have been spritzing him between these takes. He is glistening.
Oh, yeah. And of course, we get the same New Year's kiss sequence. It's about 10 seconds away. And in this case, it's like, Donna is just sort of chill. Like I love the way she portrays it. Like, you know, in her version, she was like reluctantly like, oh God, I guess we have to do this with this man that hates me. In this version, she's just sort of like, she's just going with the flow. So she closes her eyes, perks her lips, waiting for it. And then he, like, of course, just like in Donna's version, it's sort of like, shit, I just see a guy, like he darts off, but it's sort of because, oh shit, I just see a guy who can lend me money. So the reason that he darts off has nothing, again, to do with her. It's because he's so consumed with this money issue that it's sort of like, oh God, I got to catch this guy right now so he can pay for my cover charge, runs away from her. But what I really love is that Donna doesn't play it as sort of like offended or mad or upset. It's like the guy leaves, but it's like in Alex's version, Donna was like above him and intimidating anyway. So it's like when he leaves, it's like she doesn't think anything of it. She's just sort of like, whatever. Like, and it's just like doesn't give a fuck. She even kind of laughs a little bit. Like she simply does not care about this man that is beneath her in this perspective.
Well, and in her version, she runs away into the crowd. And in his version, she just sort of becomes part of the festivity of the crowd.
Yeah.
Which is so well realized. Yeah. He just loses her. She didn't leave. She just got swept away with the other revelry.
Yeah. Yeah. And like replaying, like the reason that he said I'm kind of stuck is because he's kind of stuck in that he doesn't have money. And then he's whispering in the ear, like, can I borrow some money from you? I know this is embarrassing and this is really a hard thing to ask, but can you borrow some money? You know, so it all lines up perfectly. It's good.
I do like that he's good enough friends with this guy to essentially give him $500 in today's money, which is what he hands him. So like, wow.
That's pretty, yeah. I mean, you know what? It's his friend is probably also a doctor.
That's true.
Who is actually making doctor money, I think is what's happening.
Yeah. And we're back in Mary's bedroom with the memory completed. Alex finishes his story, but Mary is asleep. We get this really nice paternal moment of him kissing her goodnight and turning off the light before heading back to his room and seeing Donna. And of course, Donna, because she is a nervous wreck, is still awake when Alex returns. And they both talk about how they remember the evening.
Remember that New Year's Eve when we first went out together?
do I? I was just telling Mary.
Well, that was the night I first discovered this strange power I have over women. Oh, anybody can bore a gal on the first night out together on New Year's Eve.
You bored me?
Boy, you were either bored or mad. You walked out on me.
Walked out on you?
And they're just about to get to the point that you would expect a sitcom to get to, where they're about to reveal that they had different memories of the experience, when the doorbell rings. And this time, it's not just Donna. They're both out of there like a racehorse just heard the bell.
It's so funny. They're invested now. It's so funny. Over this guy who's just like, not like really
not
nothing.
Great. Yeah.
Just nothing.
Yeah. He's fine.
Yeah. So, they rush downstairs. They see Herbie, who has come back, claiming to return Mary's handkerchief. Obviously, it's just this not very smooth excuse to come back, right?
No, he has no smoothness. This is not game. This man's got no. He's wonderful, and I wish them the best. But this guy's got no solid game.
Yeah. Which makes it that much funnier that he is just so intimidating to them for really no reason.
I guess I better be going now.
Oh, Herbie, won't you stay and have some hot chocolate or something? Mary, ask Herbie if he'll stay and have some hot chocolate.
Herbie, would you like to stay and have some hot chocolate or something?
Of course he would. I'd like some hot chocolate or something myself.
Dear, it's getting late.
Oh, yeah. We night owls have to get our 8 hours,
And then we get our third scene of awkward small talk, because Mary comes downstairs, thanks Herbie, and there's a round of this discussion about hot chocolate.
Hot chocolate or something. Everyone is like, maybe we can make him some hot chocolate or something. Yeah, I could go for some hot chocolate or something. Mary, you should make him some hot chocolate or something. Yeah, I guess they could stick around for hot chocolate or something. It's good. I just like that the repetition of lines. Like, it's a basic comedy thing, but I think it's even stronger in an episode like this, where the whole gist of the episode is like, how things repeat, right? Like just how things repeat based on like the parents and children having bad dates, but also like literally watching an episode where they repeat the same events. Like, it's just, it's a fun thing to throw in. Like, it works as a joke and it works thematically, I feel like.
Yeah. I also love that Alex says, I could go for some hot chocolate or something. And we get essentially the verbal version of stamping your partner's foot and being like, no, you don't.
That's so true, yeah. I didn't even think about that. That's exactly what it is, yeah.
It works on two levels. One, it works because we need the kids to have their own time, and we as the audience are going to follow the Reeds back upstairs to do the sort of conclusion of the episode, which we need to sort of like put this episode to bed, and that's a way for them to get out of this awkward foursome that they seem to keep getting stuck in the foyer.
Yeah, it's good. It's so good.
Yeah.
And and the way this wraps up, Donna's like, I like Herbie, and Alex is like, because he reminds you of me, and I'm like, and I'm just sort of like, well, that George Hamilton has nothing on you, buddy. But
thank you.
But I think the idea being that Alex is seeing Herbie probably as like the nervous guy who Alex sees himself as his first date,
Yep.
Alex, do you remember that first New Year's Eve?
Uh-huh.
Were you uncomfortable?
Uncomfortable? That was the most miserable night of my life. I never wanted to see you again.
Really?
Huh?
Oh, well, that's exactly how I felt.
And Donna's like, hey, do you remember how you felt on our first New Year's Eve date? And he's like, I was miserable. And she was like, I was miserable too. Oh, I'm so glad. Like, it's so funny. Like their like mutual respect for how miserable their first date was. And the fact that they actually were like in that moment, it's sort of like, oh, thank God we were actually on an even playing field the entire time. Neither of us were having a good time. And that's why we actually ended up working out ultimately.
Yeah, I love this. And I also love that, again, we're out of time for the episode, but you could have cut some things. You could have rewritten some things to do a little bit more of the correcting each other's stories at the end, but the episode doesn't need it. So they don't do it. They stick it to being funny. It's funny for two people to say our first date was such garbage for each of us, even though it turned into something so beautiful and loving.
I think it works better that they don't ever bring up how different their stories were. Mary is the only person who knows that things are different, and she's too consumed for her own shit. She probably wasn't even listening to them tell their stories.
No, she definitely fell asleep in the middle of Alex's. Like, she's been out for a while.
And I mean, to be fair, she just heard the story like 5 minutes earlier, so like, why wouldn't she? You know. But I like that they don't try to put a bow on it, because like that's not the point. The point isn't like we should work things out to try to find out the truth of what we're. No, the point is just that people just see things differently, and you're going to you're going to have these different perspectives on the same experiences, and sometimes that's kind of why you bond, is because of like seeing yourself. I think in particular, what I like about it is that it's sort of introspective in this. It's not necessarily, both of their stories aren't necessarily commenting on how they see the other one necessarily, as much as it's how they see themselves, like in, you know, compared to the other person. Right. So it's like the whole idea being like, we're all going to approach these situations in our own heads, probably seeing ourselves in the worst possible ways. Right. Like that's just going to happen. And that's just kind of a natural way of life. And it's okay to just not be totally consumed by how those things went, because you're probably not going to be seen as bad as you thought you were, because everyone is self-obsessed and thinking about how they're operating in those situations, not how you're operating in those situations.
Yeah. And so your first date was garbage in your mind. Do you know what grows out of garbage, Derek?
Mold?
Orchids.
Orchids. Okay. Yeah, I guess that works.
Nope. That was a stretch of a joke.
Do orchids grow in garbage? Is that a thing that happens?
No, I Googled this. They grow in semi-arid regions. I was really stretching for the joke. Mold was a better answer. But this relationship between Donna and Alex also grew out of that, despite how they were each feeling. And I don't know. I think there's a nice, I don't know. Yeah. I don't need to get a lesson out of my television show, but I think that it's nice for there to be this communication that, like, I don't know, love wins in a lot of ways here. And so it won for them, even though they didn't start off strong, it became strong. And there is a beauty to that.
I agree. I really enjoyed this. I mean, so much more than I expected to. I was going into it, approaching it from a historical perspective, and it really was just a genuinely fun episode of TV to watch. Yeah. It felt, I think I said this earlier, like it felt so much more modern than I was expecting it to, even as much as this is just the most typical 50s nuclear family sitcom. I think the way that the characters are written, I think that there's a realism to the way these characters are written, at least again in this episode in particular. But I think that like the comedy is subtle, but there, like there, most of the time when I heard the audience laugh, it's sort of like you're almost laughing too loud, because I feel like this is a smarter joke than like the audience is responding to, you know?
I felt like I was almost getting, I mean, obviously not interview style, but I was almost getting more Modern Family than I was getting like a more modern thing. And that just made me think like, well, I wonder how much of the first episode of WandaVision was a little bit more informed from this than I would have assumed. Dick Van Dyke, I Love Lucy, things like that. I mean, they obviously were much more prolifically involved in thinking about all of 50s, 60s television when they crafted that series. So I wonder if maybe a little bit of Donna Reed made its way in there as well, and it just wasn't part of our cultural awareness.
I think that's actually a really smart observation. I can definitely see that. I think if I would like to go back and watch that first episode of WandaVision after having seen this and see if it feels a lot more akin to this show than I would have expected it to be. Yeah.
Wow. Anything else we need to talk about then for the Donna Reed Show episode Have Fun?
I hope people listen to this one, because I can totally see people seeing this and being like, that sounds boring, I'm skipping. So I hope that they do. And this definitely, you know, I think we've talked about like wanting to do some more classic or older television just because it's fun and interesting. And this definitely lights a fire under me to be more aware, like look for that more intentionally, you know? Because I think that, like, again, for this being the first instance of a Rashomon-style story, like they nail it instantly.
Oh my God,
like
so
this
good.
is,
so
you could
good.
do this exact sort of setup and done in the same way in 2023 and it would work, you know? Like it doesn't feel like, oh, this is the early example that they improve upon. It feels like they just got the concept and they nailed it. And I did not go into this expecting that. And it has me so excited to see what I hope is more examples of things like this, where early instances of gimmicks are just like right out the gate, just fucking nailed immediately. Yeah. And it's just there and you've got it. And that's the trope that every TV show will copy going forward.
Yeah. I love how surprised I was by this. And I truly do recommend folks check out of just a few episodes of the Donna Reed Show. We were able to watch it on Tubi. I don't know if by the time you all get this, that's still an accessible space, but wild and some weird history around like the availability of this on DVD that you can dive into on the Wikipedia that I was just very surprised by. But of course now we've got a lot of accessibility for streaming, and I just think it's definitely worth a watch.
Yeah, for sure. Well, this has been so fun.
Oh, I had fun.
Yeah, I had fun. I'm glad you had fun. I'm glad we did both see it that way in this case.
Yeah.
We didn't see those things differently. Well, if you'd like to have some more fun, you can find us both all over the internet. If you want to find me, my Twitter is probably where I'm most active. That is at Derek B. Gale. But you can find me on other social media platforms at that name, or Dare Bear, Mr. Dare Bear. You can also find my other podcast, Walloping Web Snappers, which is a Spider-Man podcast where Doug and I do deep dives into every Spider-Man cartoon ever made. And we also just recently launched another podcast that is a monthly one called Screonk, a Godzilla movie marathon, where we're stomping through all of Godzilla's filmography. This month, I think it'll be like about a week after this episode comes out. Our episode on Godzilla Raids Again comes out, which is the second ever Godzilla movie ever made. So you can, of course, find all those podcasts anywhere you get your podcasts. And also, speaking of old TV, I'll plug my Twitch, which is twitch.tv/Mr. Dare Bear, where I stream VHS recordings of old television airings with the original commercials.
Oh, so cool.
What about you, David?
And you can find me anywhere on social media as Dmuma. That's DMUMA. I also run a podcast as part of the Glitterjaw Queer Podcast Collective called Are You My Mother? That launches every other week. And we cover mothers and moms from media. Obviously going to have to cover Donna Stone at some point in time, just so I can keep talking about how hot Alex is, but also pretty a quintessential mom. So if you want to check that out, that's available wherever you get podcasts. And as I mentioned, Gimmicks is also part of the Glitterjaw Queer Podcast Collective. So if you're looking for other media podcasts that talk about things with a queer lens, check out the full roster of Glitterjaw shows at glitterjaw.com. If you want to support this show, you can buy us a coffee at ko-fi.com/gimmickspod. You can also follow the podcast at gimmickspod on social media for some extra goodies, and email your questions, feedback, and corrections to gimmicspodcast@gmail.com. And until next time, friends, keep being weird
and have fun.
And have fun!
This has been a Screen Gems film presentation from the Hollywood studios of Columbia Pictures.
You know, I'm something of a scientist myself.